First, I'd like to let everyone know my name is Tom Burke. I'm Deputy Town Supervisor here at Town of Woodbury. And I'd like to welcome the Woodbury Police Department, Chief Watson, Lieutenant Phillips, Sergeant Caruso. We have our Woodbury resident stakeholders that have been attending all the meetings. On behalf of everyone here, Mayor Tim Egan, I'd like to welcome everyone. Tonight, on behalf of not only from the Governor's Office in New York State, that is asking that all all Woodbury, all police departments in the state of New York have a department and community panel meeting, and for 4 meetings, we've had 4 consecutive meetings. We also would like to say that we as a community are glad that we're able to put this presentation together to allow our community members, if they'd like to discuss any complaints or any issues they may have, please feel free to call in and discuss any topics. We are going to limit it to only Woodbury residents, please, so if anybody else has anything they'd like to add. If not, we can begin with any calls or anybody coming in.
I'd like to thank everybody again for coming, all the stakeholders. Those of you who are not here tonight and those who are zooming in. As we go around the room, we have rolled out the presentation to you over the last 3 weeks. Any of the stakeholders, does anybody here have anything that they could suggest that they think that we could do better as a department, and/or continue to keep the department moving the way it's been moving, and possibly minimize specific issues that could cause the town or the police department liability? Tim?
Hey, Chief. I've been thinking about the comments and the slides and the discussion that we've had so far. And I can tell you that in a couple of decades of doing dozens upon dozens of accident investigations in my service, dash cam video is a huge benefit to our organization. And I think it would really benefit the town, and in particular the police department. Because not that it doesn't matter whose fault a collision is, but it really provides objective data with which to evaluate any collision and determine exactly what happened with an independent third party, if you will, with both audio and video. And it becomes very helpful in these investigations. So I think that's something you guys should really look into. Body cams or something else. I have a little less experience with body cams. We do use them for a small segment of our service, and they are helpful, and I think they'd be a benefit for you also, but I understand the fiscal impact of that. Vehicle cams, I think, would be a lot less expensive than body cams. If you can do both, if there's grant money out there for you guys, that'd be great.
We have looked into some grants, and we are going to be pursuing that. We've gotten a couple different quotes from different companies, and we're going to be exploring that also. It is a rather expensive proposition. I will forward it to the town board members, specifically the police liaisons, and I think we could possibly make it work. One company does have what's called a protection plan, which is where they outfit you with body cams. If there's a taser deployment, it's recorded. Anytime the officer exits the vehicle, it automatically turns on. So there can be no turning on, turning off the cameras. They automatically come on when they exit the vehicle. And also that protection plan includes warranty service of the cameras, a dash cam for the vehicles, and also the storage. It was expensive. For 25 cameras under that plan, it was a $500,000 5-year deal. Obviously, you don't have to pay it all at once. It would be something that would be over a sustained period, but we are looking into possibly using that company and/or a few other ones that are out there. A little less expensive, but the warranty is not as good. And we'll be bringing that definitely to the attention of the town board for our next budget, and/or sooner. Anybody else?
I just want to say that as a member of law enforcement for over 25 years, and an educator now, there were things that just kudos for whoever put together the presentations, because I thought it was enlightening, objective, and I think that there's going to be a lot of progressive changes based upon what you've done. And I'm proud to be a member of the community and have you as my police department.
Thank you. Thanks. Good.
Oh, let me just add that, at the recent town board meeting, our supervisor, Frank Palermo, who I think is zooming in tonight, he couldn't make it. At our last town board meeting, we did go, speak on behalf of some of these, the slides that you did present, and one of the things that definitely stood out, and we repeated at the town board meeting, was that over the last 4 years, the zero complaints from your department, the professionalism that you guys provide, it's just unbelievable, and we just can't thank you enough. And we're lucky to have you guys as our police force.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any public comment? We did kind of start a little bit late, so I think it would be fair enough to give some people some time if they like. Mr. Supervisor, I see you on there. Do you have anything to add?
Actually, no. I think you guys have done an excellent job. As I said from the very beginning, my first day there, this is not really a necessity for the town of Woodbury, but as I know, the governor has insisted on it, so we've done it. I think you run a great department, and I'm very proud to be the supervisor of that department. So keep up the good work and continue doing what we're doing.
Thank you.
Any other questions out there, Tim?
I don't have any personally. There is somebody identified as Mercedes,
Yeah, I see that.
so if that person wants to speak, I would suggest that person identify themselves and unmute themselves and,
Okay. In the meantime, as you know, this is our last meeting, and I would like to thank the stakeholders for taking their time and effort and volunteering their Wednesdays over the past couple weeks to come and listen to us talk. Let us be able to describe our police department in whole and what we do. It's nice to hear that some of you guys have been longtime residents and didn't even know we did some of the community things like Operation Concern, Coffee with the Cop, and some of the other things we do, the trunk retreats and stuff. So it is nice to know that we put that out there. One of the things I need to do is after tonight, I'm going to assist in drawing up the plan that the panel has come up with in order to present to the board for adoption. Three of the things that come to mind are three of the things that I think that the panel thought were the most important, and describe what we're going to do moving forward to try to adopt some of those things. And one of the things in mind is the mental health. I know we had a very big talk and discussion on mental health and trying to possibly get the county more involved, and I know we even touched base about even looking into getting maybe a volunteer or even looking into a paid person that would be available for the town of Woodbury to come and assist if needed. One of the other things we talked about was the hiring process. We explained to you how we don't actually choose who we are hiring. It's done through a test and an exam. And those that rise to the top when we are getting ready to hire are the ones that are interviewed and discussed, and ultimately we take the best of the best. We just don't randomly go out and hire people because we think they're going to make a great cop. It is a civil service position, so I'm going to discuss about that, write that up, and also present that. And then obviously one of the last things we did tonight was about the body cams. And we're going to incorporate what Chief Watson had talked about, present that to the board, maybe come up with different ideas if we can get grants and funding to try to make that happen. And then that'll be presented to the board, which they'll discuss in a workshop and adopt on Monday night, and then off to Albany for the final verdict for the governor. One thing that I would like to do is, before we leave here tonight, is to try to keep this community panel whole, and maybe we could meet once or twice a year, just to give you guys updates of what we've changed, what we've done, because our accreditation process is an evolving body, which is changing monthly and is updated by Sergeant Caruso on a daily basis. So, every 6 months we could meet if you'd like, discuss any changes that have come and let you know how we're going to implement moving forward. But I was very happy that you guys showed up, very happy that you listened, very happy for your input, and I think that we have a pretty good layout of the community in front of us amongst you guys, and I think you represent it very well, and I personally would like to thank you very much. Thank you for coming.
This doesn't look like anybody else is looking to contact. So again, I would like to thank everybody. For the public's benefit, we're available anytime, we're accessible. If someone has a constructive suggestion, of the way they think that we can do something different, or if they need an explanation as to what we do or why we do it.
The person identified as Mercedes just unmuted, so perhaps they have something to say.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. Are stakeholders allowed to comment in this meeting, or does anyone?
Excuse me, ma'am, what is your name?
Mercedes.
What is your residence here, Woodbury?
Village of Walden.
You're in the village of Walden?
Yes. But actually,
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to check where you are. Go ahead, thank you.
yeah. I was wondering, was there a community survey done to get people involved in these meetings to let them know that these meetings are happening and to get a general feel of how they feel with the police department here in the town of Woodbury?
Yeah, could you repeat what you said? Did you hear?
She asked if there was a community survey done to notify people of the stakeholder meetings to obtain community involvement. Is that correct, Mercedes?
And also how they feel about the police department in the town of
And
Woodbury.
how they feel about the police department in the town of Woodbury.
Well, you can let her know that what we did was, when we first decided, the town board to put the stakeholders together, a letter was placed on the town of Woodbury website, as well as the Woodbury Police Department website, of when the meetings were going to take place and who the stakeholders were. After every stakeholder meeting, it was publicized on YouTube, and a email address for police reform was placed on the websites, where if you had any questions, comments, concerns, you were able to watch the meeting, figure out what was discussed, and then you could send your comments and concerns or questions to the email, and then we brought it back to the meeting in front of the stakeholders the following week, and then it was discussed.
Gotcha. And how were the comments? Did a lot of people comment in, or was there very little input?
You were a little broken up there, Mercedes. Could you repeat the question, please?
How was the input? Was it very little, or did you feel an overwhelming amount?
Well, so how was the input? Do we feel it was very little, or was there an overwhelming amount?
We did get a few comments via email of people just questioning specific things of what we do in the department. The hiring process was one. If we hire based on civil service guidelines. We had a question about body cams, and then we had somebody who actually commented on just basically how many summonses we issued in the last year and over the last few years, which I believe that we posted the data. We didn't post 2020, but we will be posting that. As far as the stakeholders are concerned, there is several members here, and if anybody would feel free to answer Mercedes' question on behalf of the stakeholders.
I think, just a point of clarification, Chief, I think, Mercedes, the stakeholders are the people that were invited to participate in this meeting as opposed to members of the public. I think you were asking about members of the public participating in this, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what tonight is about, right, Chief?
Right. Tonight is for public comment.
Were you able to hear the Chief's answer to your question, Mercedes?
No.
You can go ahead and tell Tonight is for public comment. So anything, any comment or any suggestion that you have that you feel that we can do better as a municipality or a police department, that's what this meeting is for tonight.
You keep going in and out. I'm sorry. It's probably my service. What did you say?
Okay, so I'll try and paraphrase what the chief said earlier and now. So before he said that, yes, there were some written comment via email that had to do with body cams and numbers of arrests per year, which was part of the presentation and available for download on the police department website.
Yes.
Right, chief? And what was the second?
Yeah. And there was, the hiring process.
All right, and there were questions about the hiring process and civil service, et cetera. But then the last comment.
With the hiring process, is that like, is the job application like accessible online, or is it like accessible within the police department? Like, is it known in the newspaper? Like, how do you how are people aware of that?
Yeah, the hiring process for police officers in general, Mercedes, has to do with the civil service of each county. So that would be through Orange County Civil Service, and there's an application process to take the exam. There's an application process for the police department after you pass the exam. There's physicals, there's psych, et cetera. So there's a bunch of components to that. They actually went over that in one of the earlier meetings.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought you guys did a great job. I mean, this clearly took a lot of time, and you guys, you included a lot of, statistics and details, so thanks. I didn't feel like I needed to ask any questions, because you guys answered them all.
Well, I think the benefit of being an accredited agency gives us a little bit of an advantage. When the governor rolled this out, you have to understand there's over 500 police agencies in the state of New York. There's about 150 that are accredited. Now, when you're an accredited agency, you have to follow the standards that are dictated by the state. I think what the governor and I think the legislators' point was to get everybody standardized with specifically with a lot of stuff that we're already doing. I don't want to say this wasn't difficult to look inward and to make sure that you are doing the right thing, but we were on the right path because of accreditation. And that is a credit to our former bosses that went out and decided to get the department accreditation way back in the early 90s, and we've just been able to maintain it. It's a process that we make sure that everybody follows, and what I think it does is, you've seen with the PowerPoint presentation that a lot of these things that is going on in other agencies, a lot of the complaints and a lot of the issues that they're having, we're lucky enough right now that we are not having them. I like to think it's because we have guidelines and we have, these things set in place, but there's always room for improvement. And as time marches on, we know things are going to change, and we're willing to embrace that change and get everything out there that we need to get out there to continue to do our job and, have good cooperation not only with our citizens, but with everybody that we interact with.
I think you're right, the accreditation laid the groundwork, but I also think you guys go above and beyond with the community outreach. You can't top that. What you guys do, whether it's the little kids starting out when they're young, it makes all the difference in the world. And I think that's where a lot of problems come into play with other agencies. So it means a lot, it really does. I mean, I've had to call you guys up to the cemetery a couple of times, and it's just very comforting to me to know that all I have to do is hit that button and you're there. It means a lot. And more than anything, stay safe.
Thank you. As this whole thing evolves, we're gonna, we realize that even with our own website, we're gonna try to get a lot more stuff out and be as transparent as we need to be and as everybody wants us to be, so they feel comfortable. There is nothing to hide. We try to all be professionals, but there's always room for improvement, and we're gonna strive to be the best we can be.
One of the things that I'm glad you brought up about the website is I just want to talk about people with social media in general. Social media is huge. People are all over it. People are on it, and some people uploaded and on their phone 24/7. If you're looking to make complaints, or you're looking to have some type of call history through social media, unfortunately, we do not monitor it 24/7. I'd love to, but it's just too time consuming to try to monitor it. So we are very transparent. We put up as much as we can when we can, but it's either in the beginning of a tour or it's the end of the tour. If somebody makes a complaint or tries to message on Facebook, it's not monitored right away. So what I'd like to, let people know, if you choose to do that and it's not a rush, not a big deal, but if you're looking to get a hold of the police department ASAP, the easiest way would be call 911 if it's an emergency, if not, the 928-2341. Because some people will make complaints about speeders, some people will make complaints about trespassers, whatever you could possibly think, it has come over social media. But hopefully in the future, we could maybe get a couple more supervisors on board that can monitor every tour of duty. But as of right now, it's monitored twice a day, in the morning and in the afternoon. And if you miss the cutoff in the afternoon, nobody will get it until the following morning. But we try. We know that's one thing we need to be better with, we need to be more transparent with, and we are trying our best to stay on top of it and keep the public informed.
I think it's sad that you have to be transparent and have to monitor social media. I'm sorry, there's more important things.
You'd be surprised.
I know, but
I'll tell you that the reason why we're going to endeavor to do it, and it's because what kills rumors on the social media is the truth and
Right.
transparency. So if you can jump on it
on
right
it and
away
respond,
and
exactly.
get the facts out,
I know.
then you don't have, people, if sometimes when you don't comment, it's worse because it continues it. And we recognize that, so, that's something that we specifically want to focus in on. And this way, when somebody puts something out, if we know what the facts are, we're gonna get them out to the public as long as it's not gonna cause a problem for us, if it doesn't leak out anything that we can't. We're gonna get the facts out so we can stop the misinformation.
It's just sad. It's a sad
It's,
state of
but you
affairs.
know what, social media is a great tool, it does help us a lot of times, but, that's what the
Misleading.
point
In
is.
other words, it's not true. I mean, if it's on Facebook, we know it's true. I'm sorry.
Anybody else have any comments? We see two people up there. If not, Mr. Deputy Supervisor, I think it's up to you to. Who's on top of that? That's
Oh.
All right, well, I think that, based on what we're seeing here now, I think those are the two that we're gonna hear from, and, again, on behalf of everyone here and the town board and Officer Tim Egan over there, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in, and everybody get home safe. Mayor, would you like to add anything before we sign off?
No, I'm fine, thanks, Tom.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.